for strategic marketing. The division will be a new core function within public affairs and will complement our media and strategic engagement teams. The purpose of this new division is to create marketing campaigns that support the War Department's military recruitment efforts, providing a halo effect to the great work the military services are already doing to recruit our nation's warfighters. And with that, I'd be happy to take your questions. Yes, Caitlin.
Thanks, Kingsley. Can you talk about the autonomy that's given to the commanders who are carrying out these operations, like Admiral Bradley, to make decisions? Like in this case, I'm assuming the first strike took out the boat and any actions that followed. Can you talk about the autonomy they're given?
Absolutely. So the Secretary has been very clear in every statement that we've released about these strikes that they are presidentially directed. And the chain of command functions as it should. And we make sure that commanders on the ground are taken, their positions are taken into account, and they are able to tell us and make decisions if they see things that need to be flagged. But at the end of the day, the Secretary and the President are the ones directing these strikes. And any follow-on strikes like those which were directed by Admiral Bradley, the Secretary 100% agrees with. Yes, Matt.
Kingsley, if Nicolas Maduro leaves Venezuela today, what role will the Department of War have in a post-Maduro Venezuela? And describe the process the administration will use to determine whether or not current members of the Venezuelan military or Venezuelan government have a role in a post-Maduro Venezuela.
Thanks for the question. So the department has a contingency plan for everything. We are a planning organization. If anything were to happen around the world, we have a response planned and ready. So we stand at the president's beck and call, our commander-in-chief, to do what is needed if called upon. And that will be what this department continues to focus on and continues to prepare for in regards to our ongoing operations in the Southcom region. Again, our focus is taking out narco-terrorists and rooting out that threat that is poisoning the American people. Every single boat that we strike saved 25,000 American lives. That is a crucial mission to protecting the homeland, and we're proud to be a part of it.
Just as a follow-up, quickly, so, following the departure of Saddam Hussein, there was this desire to name every Ba'athist a terrorist. Does the administration take the view that any person who served in the Venezuelan military or Venezuelan government is definitionally a narco-terrorist?
That would be a determination for the president to make, but I can tell you that every single person who we have hit thus far who is in a drug boat carrying narcotics to the United States is a narco-terrorist. Our intelligence has confirmed that, and we stand by it. Yes, Monica.
Thanks, Kingsley. I have two questions, if I may. For your first question regarding Sarah Beckstrom, the 20-year-old West Virginia National Guardswoman who was shot and killed, was her family offered an Arlington burial, and or will there be plans to do so?
I know that the White House is working that out, so they might be better to describe what the plans are for that. But this department will, of course, support in any way we can, and have been, in close contact with the family, and the Secretary will continue to do so. So we'll keep you all updated on that.
Thank you. And my second question regarding Iran, there are reports that Iran's been planning on rebuilding its nuclear facilities. Iranian's president has said that it plans to rebuild its nuclear facilities with, quote, greater strength. Can you provide us on any sort of update on where that currently stands?
I can tell you that Operation Midnight Hammer was an absolute resounding success. Iran's nuclear capabilities were totally obliterated, and experts estimated that, it would take 2 years for them to recover. So thanks to President Trump's bold and swift action, we were able to dismantle that threat to the American people. And I think it was also a historic operation by virtue of the fact that there was a clear end state. We have seen this department get marred down in the Middle East in endless wars, in nation building. That has stopped under this president and this secretary. We now have a clear end state, a clear mission set, and Operation Midnight Hammer was a success in dismantling that. Yes, Laura.
Thanks so much for having me here today. Now that the president has started the process of designating the Muslim Brotherhood as a foreign Islamic terrorist organization, will the Department of War still proceed with selling F-15 fighter jets to Qatar? And how will they be able to train Qatari pilots at their air base in Idaho if Qatar is included in the designation?
Thank you for the question. We take very seriously our partnerships, and we always do thorough evaluations to make sure that they protect our intelligence, our operational security, and that they serve the best interests of the American people. The U.S. military has a long-standing partnership with Qatar, and we look forward to continuing that partnership at our air base in Idaho. And I would just point out that for reference, the Mountain Home, Idaho Air Base is not just Qataris that train there. There are also Singapore military folks that are there as well. So it is a base that we do a lot of foreign military training, and we are thankful for those partnerships, and we'll continue to evaluate all of those to make sure, again, that national security is protected. That is the Secretary's utmost priority.
But given the fact that the Qatari royal family and Qatar itself is the biggest financier, along with Turkey, of course, the financier of the Muslim Brotherhood, would that relationship and partnership be reevaluated since the designation could possibly include Qatar?
I'm not tracking any reevaluation at this time, but again, the Secretary really keeps national security top of mind, and this administration does as well. So we will always make sure that American assets are protected. Yes.
Hi, David Zier, Real America's Voice. It's great to be here. I want to know if you can confirm any additional National Guard deployments under Title 10 in additional cities, and have any governors reached out for help under Title 32 as well? And how do you determine how National Guard troops, how many are armed?
Great question. So I don't have anything to announce at this time in terms of new deployments, but I can tell you that our mission set is critical. We are keeping American cities safe all across this country, and we are going to remain committed to that. These missions aren't going to stop in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in D.C. We understand the urgent threat that is facing many of these cities, and the National Guard is proud to step in alongside our law enforcement partners to help with that. And I can confirm that everybody in D.C. is now armed, and a lot of our D.C. National Guardsmen are now also doing joint patrols with members of the police department here in D.C. So their safety is, of course, top of mind, and we will continue to make sure that they're able to do their jobs in keeping all of our great Americans safe across our cities. Yes, Bradley.
We're now 90 days into these Venezuelan drug boat strikes. A growing number of members on Capitol Hill are getting their mettle up with regard to war powers. If they do move forward with some sort of war powers effort, will the administration seek to challenge the validity of the war powers resolution, or will it comply?
I wouldn't want to get ahead of the president's decision-making process in regard to Venezuela, but I can tell you what I mentioned earlier is that the department is a planning organization. We are always ready. We have plans for every single contingency, and we are going to make sure that when it comes to narco-terrorism, we're dismantling that throughout the Western Hemisphere, and you've seen that in the success of our strikes.
One follow-up, if I may. 53% in a recent CBS YouGov poll said they support the strikes on these drug boats, but 70% said no military operations within Venezuela. Nevertheless, members of Congress are increasingly calling for regime change there. What's the Department of War's message to those members of Congress?
The Department of War stands behind the president 100%, and we will execute on the orders that our commander-in-chief gives us, and we're proud to do so. That will continue. And again, any decision that is going to be made about certain military actions in the Western Hemisphere region will be the president's alone. Yes.
Todd Wood from CDM's Armed Forces Press. There's been a lot of reporting that, yes, it's about drugs in Venezuela, but also possibly about election fraud electronically. Do you have any comment on that? And also, are assets, we've heard that special operations aviation assets are exercising for direct action missions in that region. Can you confirm that at all?
On your first question, I would refer you to the State Department. I think they would probably be able to give you a better answer on that. But in terms of your second question, I can tell you that we are conducting training missions and exercises. We've got the forward aircraft carrier now that is down there in the Southcom region. And as I said, the department's a planning organization. So a big part of that planning is doing trainings and make sure that we're ready at a moment's notice to protect our interests and to protect the American people from narco-terrorism. Yes, RC.
Has there been a determination at this point from the Army Secretary on a Distinguished Service Medal for Specialist Sarah Beckstrom?
I would refer you to the Army for that, and if I hear anything, I will keep you posted. That would be wonderful news. Yes, James.
Hi, James O'Keefe. Nicholas Terza, branch chief here at the Pentagon, was caught on a video in the spring stating, quote, "Trump is illegitimate. We're going to resist him, quote, everything he does." We know there are other people like this that work here. My question is, what steps is the Department of War taking to identify and address personnel who are in the self-described resistance movement?
Thank you for the question. That's why the work you all do is so important. This is a big building, and we want to make sure that we have the absolute best people working at it to protect Americans every single day. We don't take lightly what every single civilian and military person in this building do every single day. They do a lot of hard work, and we want to make sure that they're up to the task, and that they're on board and willing to serve our commander-in-chief, who was elected by the whole of the American people, to serve as our president. And we support him 100% here at the Department of War. That is our mission. That is our chain of command. So personnel is policy. The Secretary has said that many times, and I know you all in this room are aware of that as well. That was really the crux of his speech at Quantico not long ago to the generals. Our people are our most important asset. So we will continue to make sure that our people are consistently putting America first. That's something we care very much about. Yes, Alex.
Thanks, Kinsley. Are there plans to host or hold more of these regular press briefings? And if so, how frequently?
Absolutely, we'd love to. It'd be great to get everybody in here. I know we have the Christmas holiday coming up, but we'd love to make it a weekly or bi-weekly tradition. So we're excited to have you all in the Pentagon for those.
And we receiving more readouts of the Secretary of War's meetings, with the President yesterday, much like the State Department and the White House, that provide readouts and scheduling and things like that. Will we be receiving more of those?
Absolutely. In the interest, as I said in my opening, in the interest of transparency, we want to make sure that you all are informed. That's a commitment we take seriously. Obviously, we're slightly different than other agencies in that we have national security and operational concerns, but we will tell you as much as we can because we want the American public to know all the incredible things that our warfighters are doing every single day and all the amazing initiatives the Secretary is pursuing here at the Department of War.
Nous espérons dire peut-être gagner plus tour de ça qui a passé en dedans département la guerre là en de pays les États-Unis. Madame, monsieur, on nous fait vite résumer pour l'autre nouvelle puisque dans 10 minutes environ, il y a un meeting cabinet gouvernement chef l'État a dirigé dans la troupe là, ils pral réunir ensemble. Ministre pral réunir pour bailler point de vue, parler bail information sur ça qui est réalisé, ça qui a passé en dedans gouvernement bien rapide. On dit que secrétaire presse Pentagone là, il confirmé que ça qui était passé dans le cadre de bataille contre drogue là, bateau ça qui a été écrasé et puis il y a un monde qui était là-dedans, discussion qui a fait là, moi c'est censé confirmer tout l'ordre que responsable armé yo recevoir ou bien yo mettez en application, yo exécuter c'est l'ordre qui sorti. Bon côté chef l'État qui passé par secrétaire la guerre là et que militaires eux-mêmes yo exécuté parce qu'il y a travail pour chef l'État, il y a travail en tête collée ensemble avec lui et yo même en dans Pentagone, yo prêt, yo fier alors pour yo faire genre du travail si là il y a évalué une membre qui a censé une position contraire à ça qui a véhiculé en dedans, moi j'ai fait comprendre que c'est ça que fait yo même il y a cherché puisque tout le monde qui en dedans doit sous même pied avec responsable gouvernement, responsable central yo, à savoir président, c'est travail chef l'État qui a fait, lui-même qui était élu par nation pour le capable travail dans intérêt yo. Concernant soldats qui mourent, moi je dis pas connaît si on peut enterrer dans l'hôpital dans le cimetière militaire là, mais en attendant son décision qui peut prendre bon côté famille des feuillants. Et puis toujours ça qui concerne actualité n'a faut connaître dans le cadre bataille contre Bollywood qui a déclaré comme organisation terroriste là, une organisation qui a une bonne relation ensemble avec pays la Turquie et pays Qatar qui ont même financé fonctionnement organisation ça, alors que Qatar avec Turquie c'est bons amis États-Unis qui y. Pourtant, Muslim Brotherhood déclaré comme une organisation terroriste. Comme on comprend, relation ça, l'ipral exister même façon. Donc, c'est quelques points noirs qui gagnent dans ça qui concerne relations américaines ensemble avec les pays la Turquie et Qatar par rapport à l'organisation Muslim Brotherhood. Et puis, en breaking news, là aussi annoncé, l'Ivo et jeté n'est pas d'accord avec le plan que l'Ukraine proposé dans tête collée avec les Européens pour que tu fini avec la bataille ici là, la Russie a attaqué, les critiqué pays d'Europe et les fait reconnaître puisque au prend sanction contre les surtout dans les affaires gaz là, si vous continué avec politique aider Ukraine ou bien pas d'accord avec position là, li prêt pour attaquer bateau gaz qui pral vendre dans pays européen parce qu'on connaît, il est censé prendre sanction contre la Russie pour le vendre gaz sur marché international là. La Russie pas d'accord avec contre proposition que Ukraine fait à DNT comprendre ça puisque tout ça Ukraine d'accord, la Russie pas d'accord avec lui, même si gagne la Russie d'accord, Ukraine d'accord ensemble avec eux, mais c'est pas position oui surtout gagne deux sites Kounia dans cadre bataille qui a mené au censé tout prêt pour occuper là, den ça va plus vent en poupe pour pas d'accord avec la position ukrainienne dans cadre bataille si là. L'autre information, nous te rappelons déjà, nous te dit déjà dans rappelé aujourd'hui là et que gagné autorité américaine qui prend décision pour ta essayer encore indicter monsieur James Comey, lui-même qui était directeur FBI sur même accusation que était accusé l'homme, il était mis sous là alors et que la justice t'est voué jeter pas trop longtemps de cela. Dans affaire de drogue là même gagné président américain qui pardonné ancien président Honduras qui était qualifié comme marchand de drogue qui était dans prison États-Unis. Eh bien, il faut comprendre c'est parce que monsieur li était gagné un plan qui était mariné contre lui, c'est administration Biden qui était mariné plan ça selon déclaration chef l'État américain. Dans même sens ça yo annoncé et que petit El Chapo qui c'est un gros leader de drogue mexicain qui est dans prison, eh bien lui-même tout, lui dit oui, lui coupable dans affaire vente drogue sur marché international également marché américain. Lui dit Menjoni il retourné dans le tribunal jeudi pour autant de questions côté que avocat lui mandé pour que tu capable de retirer une série de éléments comme preuve à conviction dans le cadre de l'accusation contre lui dit qui était tué directeur ou bien CEO United Healthcare monsieur Brian dans la coupe Manhattan. Et puis gagné juge fédéral qui disqualifié madame Haba Alina comme moun qui t'a doué servi comme prosécuteur dans la côte New Jersey parce que nomination manzéa illégale d'après autorité judiciaire. Red chez Pstars radio et télévision 25 minutes après 11h côté que nous pas gagner t'as le constat c'est rencontre cabinet ministériel là avec chef l'État dans cas Blanchard et nous espérons gagner information pour nous partager ensemble avec vous et puis pas oublier rendez-vous devant le trône à partir de 12h sur votre réseau Pstars radio et télévision. Merci tout le monde à retourner.